Good evening. Welcome to Larry Rinker Golf Live. Hope you're having a great week. 4th of July just in a couple of days. So great to be on again this evening. And my special guest tonight, fellow Florida Gator, Chris DiMarco. And Chris, always great to catch up with you, buddy.
You too, buddy. Go Gators. Yeah. July 4th, it's a big day for me. That's the date my mom passed 15 years ago on July 4th. So it's always a good memory, family get together on that day to celebrate my mom.
Yeah, there's so many things about July, and my birthday's July 20th, so it's always a great time. It's been tough with COVID. I mean, you've been off for how many months now from the Champions Tour?
Yeah, I mean, my last tournament, I got home March 8th. So, we literally, the next week they shut it down, and they didn't even open up the golf courses here until we weren't even allowed to play till the end of April. So I went a good 40 days without even hitting a golf ball. Thankfully they've, opened the courses. We're in phase 3 out here. You can have caddies again, as long as you're smart. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I understand that this COVID thing is terrible, and obviously a lot of people are dying, but even though we're seeing more and more positive people that have it, we're also seeing the death rate go way down. So
right.
We're testing more, but what needs to be out there is the fact that the death rate is going down, and it is a terrible thing. I hope we can get through this. I don't know if life will ever be the same. In all honesty, I've always been a little Howie Mandel anyway. I've always, in the airport, my hands are in my pocket. I mean, I've been wiping down the remote with a wet wipe when I get to the room. I mean, I've always been a little bit that way anyway, but I think everybody is going to become that. And, as long as you're smart and safe, I think you can do it the right way. I think the PGA Tour has handled it great. As many tests as they've done, they've only had 1 or 2 positive, and a couple of those came back, but the next ones were negative. So
right.
Just a different day and age we're living in right now.
No, it is. So what have you done in the last 3 months to get ready? When you head back, when's the first event on the Champions Tour?
So we start the end of this month, July 29th through like August 2nd. It's at Flint, Michigan. You know that course, Old Warwick Hills. What a great golf course. We just stayed active. I mean, when it basically said you couldn't go outside, we'd still go to the parks and walk in the parks. We did a lot of hiking. Obviously, living in Denver now, you can do a lot of hiking. We have a Peloton, so we did a lot of that. We did some online Orange Theory Fitness. And then once the courses started opening up, I mean, I've been walking every day, most of the time carrying my own bag. So I'm getting a lot of I've stayed fit, which is really good. That's been the best part of it. And I've played a lot of golf. I bet you I probably played over 40 rounds at Cherry Hills in the last 50 days. So
wow.
I've been playing a ton of golf, and this course right now is in complete championship mode. I mean, the rough's up about 4 inches. The greens were rolling about 12 today. Obviously, this golf course, it's a tough golf course. The fairways are getting firm. I mean, they could have a PGA Tour event here tomorrow easily. Playing this every day is just getting me ready for, the tour to start back up. I can't wait. We go a week. We have a week off. Then we go to Akron for the Senior Players Championship. So I really can't wait for that. I'm actually going to play in my son Christian's flying out early at the end of July. We're going to play in the Colorado Open.
Nice.
So we're both going to play in that. Give me a nice little tune-up going into the first week.
Yeah, that's at Green Valley Ranch. My friend Pat Hamill owns a golf course, and great event. 100,000 first prize. Pretty cool.
100,000. Hey, nobody can turn down 100 grand.
No, it's pretty cool. Well, I'm going to bring up some video from you and I working a few years ago. It's hard to believe this was 6 years ago, CD, or 4 years ago, I mean.
I'm going to put my man glasses on so I can see it.
Yeah. But, you were taking the club and getting the club a little outside going back here. And
definitely.
You couldn't believe that, could you?
No, I couldn't. I want to take it back really straight. I want to make sure the club face gets open. If I'm outside and shut, I am dead, because I don't even like when my car turns left, let alone the golf ball. So, for me, that's what I'm doing really well right now. I am completely, the left side of the course is out of play.
Yeah, and so you can see this yellow rod here on the ground on the left. So you know, you got to feel like you're swinging a little more in to out. And now watch this club come back. And you couldn't believe that was still even a little outside going back.
Yeah, yeah. And when I get outside and shut like that, I don't turn. I kind of lift from there instead of turning around. I have a very vertical swing to start with, so the last thing I need to do is not turn with it. So by me rotating my club face open, a lot of times it gets the club face on the right line on the way back, more like the left one with the red line. And my club face gets open and it gets my left shoulder turned back just a little bit more, maybe like 10 or 20%, but that's huge in my golf swing.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you're one that really started, you know, you were always doing that rehearsal backswing. So you always really tried to have that part of your routine, didn't you?
I still do it to this day. And I catch myself. It's funny, Christian came out and played here the last couple of days. And, you know, sometimes I get doing it really quick and I don't even really pay attention I'm doing it. I mean, the whole point of me doing it is to rehearse what I want the club to be at. So I have to really tell myself to really go back slow with that rehearsal so I get the club where I want it to be. And when I get the club in the right position, you know, at that point in my swing where the club is right now, where we're seeing it on the TV, if I can get to that point, then the rest of my swing is gravy. I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's hard to hit a bad shot. I have very few moving pieces. So if I can get the club in the right spot just to start right there, I'm good.
Yeah, and then you can see how vertical your swing is, but you get too vertical on the right. And then what happens is you get a little over the top coming down.
I do.
Instead of planing it here.
I want the club, for me, and I am as the least technical guy out there in the world, but I want the club probably exiting a little left so that I'm creating that left to right spin.
Right.
I just don't need the club face shut at that point.
But look how square it is.
Swing,
look how square that club face is there coming into the ball.
On the left one, perfect. Yeah. So what I try to do, like the main thing that I've done, in all honesty, now that I'm going to be 52 years old in a month, I went to a softer shaft, and boy, did that help out tremendously. Because that swing right there was still an X100 shaft, and I didn't have enough swing speed to make enough torque to actually, you know, have it whip through. So I would pull a lot of shots. Now, I start my ball left side of the fairway, it cuts 10 yards, and I'm in the middle of the fairway just about every time.
And then you can see here you come in and you're pretty much that typical, you really kind of have an average tour player hip rotation at impact.
Right.
You know, and as you said, you kind of like seeing the club going a little more left through the ball. So you can hit that kind of straight shot or a little bit of a fade. That's really been your bread and butter your whole career.
Absolutely. Whole career. Absolutely. And my head always stays, I've been really good about everything. My head always stays really still.
Yeah. And then if we look at some iron swings from that same time, just got to let this thing move. But
there we go.
Here you are, and then we'll look at you down the line here. But you know, I think one of the things we worked on that really made you take it back outside is your hips were open.
Hips were open, and I tend to sway. I move back a little bit off it. If I keep my right leg planted and turn around it, the club tends to get back on a better spot. I turn around my right leg.
But that hips open at address is a huge thing for a lot of players because then you sway and don't get turned properly.
Absolutely, and
then the club can go outside. But here you are, and see, there's a good pivot right there. There's a really good pivot.
Yeah, that I've always. My iron play has always been a strong suit of my game.
And see, again, it is a little outside again.
Yeah, pretty vertical for sure.
But outside, too much.
Yeah, outside. The thing that I like is that my club face, as long as my club at the top, I don't mind getting a little outside as long as the club doesn't get across the line at the top. And you can see right there, the club's actually pretty good.
No, it's really good. It's really good there. Yeah. And your club face really is matched up with your left hand here. Really good. You know, that looks good there. That's very matched up. And then, you know, from here, it's just, you know, shift and let it go, isn't it? Shift.
Yeah, it is. I mean, only thing you want different is at impact, my left hip is probably just released a little bit. And,
Yeah.
basically I almost look like I'm in the start your swing position. And it's just that my hips have actually kind of rotated through. That's all you really want. I mean, look at every tour player, and that's pretty much where they are.
It is. And that's, your typical mid-core tour player. But, a lot of tour players, you struggle with getting the arms matched up with your pivot, with your body pivot. So you can get your pivot ahead of your arms and block it and be stuck, or you can get the arms a little past you as a mid-core player and hook it, which you don't want to do.
You don't want to do that. No.
That's the tweaks we got to make on a weekly and daily basis, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, it's the flip. I mean, so if I don't at least make the pivot to my left side, then that's when I kind of just hang a little bit back on my right side and I flip my hands and I hit that pull draw that I hate the most. So for me, I try to feel like right now I'm trying to feel at the top of my swing. My first move is actually my left hip kind of going towards the target a little bit, just to kind of get me into that side.
And look at the left hip going right at the target right there.
Yeah.
So
and when I do that, and I think we at this point you've squared my hips up, so it's a lot easier to do that when we do that. You can see at the top of my swing that my hips are actually pretty good on the right picture.
But notice how it shallows the club and gets you right on plane.
Yeah. I've always done a really good job of getting the club on plane as long as I can get, the main thing is I think what people need to understand, and for me especially, is that, I don't need to hit a 6-iron 185 yards. I got a 5-iron for that.
Right.
So for me, it's with swinging within myself and just realizing that, my son Christian hits a 7-iron where I hit a 5-iron. That's just the way it is, and when you succumb to that and you realize it, for me, whenever I try to hit the ball hard, that's when I get flippy and I spin out of it and I get flippy and it doesn't create a good shot. So for me, I try to avoid that at all costs. And if anything, I just choke up a little bit and swing a little bit easier and, a little bit less spin and, whatever it might be. I mean, obviously my whole thing about golf, the way I play the game is I try to control the spin of my golf ball. That's all I try to do. Whatever shot it is, if the pin's back, I'm taking some off it so it releases up there. If the pin's up front, I'm going at something maybe a little bit harder where I can hit a pass hole and bring it back. I'm not trying to, I'm certainly not trying to, just hit it anywhere. I mean, I'm literally trying to control my spin. It's funny being here at Cherry Hills, we have a caddy every day. And going to every tee, I ask the caddy where the pin is. What is it on the green? Because I play this course is, how it is, so front to back that wherever the pin is, I want to lay back my drive or what my approach shot, whatever I'm going to do, to where I can control the spin with my ball. Like today, a perfect example, the 17th hole is a par 5. I had 220 yards out of the first cut to the pin. I use meters out here, by the way. I use meters so that I don't have to do any of the math. Just 10% less and it's the altitude. So I had 225 meters, which, I could have probably went for it, but I was in the first cut. I don't think I could have stopped the green. It was a bad number. So I laid out. I hit a 9-iron, and I left it to 85 yards, which is a perfect 85 meters, a perfect lob wedge, and I hit it up there about 2 feet and made birdie. So that's the kind of things, the guys I played with, they all hit it, 30 yards past me, and they got this, 55-yard shot over water with the pin right up front, and they're all knocking it 50 feet by the hole.
Right.
So, I mean, I try to, it's all about really course management and knowing where you are in the course, and playing this course has really helped. This is very much a strategic golf course.
No, it really is. And that 17th hole, not many people reach it in 2, and it's somewhat of an island green. You got water behind the green, right?
It's a complete island green. It's literally an island. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 18's a tough uphill par 4. And we saw Birdie Kim hole a bunker shot there to win the Ladies U.S. Open. Andy North won a U.S. Open there. I believe it was in 78.
Yeah. So, Phil Mickelson won a U.S. Amateur. Another Florida Gator, Billy Horschel, won at the BMW here.
Right. And I think they might have the BMW there again. I think they're
trying to get it right now. I got a list of all that on my cup right there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's what they all had. It's
those are all the great tournaments held at Cherry Hills. Well, CD, I really believe, when you were playing your best on the tour, you just had a few checklist things that you wanted to go through. Some setup things, just getting that club started correctly on your backswing, and just some simple things. And if you got off, you just went to the range and went to those 3-4 things and got right back where you need to be.
Yeah. I mean, for me, all I work on, and when I got injured in '07, I worked on my swing more than I ever did, because I just, and it took me a while to realize that really where I made my money was from 125 yards and in. I was one of the best putters in the world around the greens. I could get it up and down from everywhere. You put an 80-yard shot in my hand, that's going to be within 5 feet. And you got to know your limitations, and you got to know what you can do. So now the main thing I do is I always put a club down when I hit balls, so I know that my alignment's good.
Right.
I check my ball position, try to make sure my ball position stays real consistent. Try to make sure my grip doesn't get out of control. I really will have somebody just video it so I can see it. And
Right.
then the thing I do is my routine at Cherry Hills before I play, even if it's a day like it today, I'll go up to the chipping green. I'll putt for about 20 minutes around out of the rough and just to kind of get a feel for everything. And then I go to the putting green. I do my routine, which is, I don't know if you know the 3, 4, 5 foot where, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You got to make all the 3-footers 3 times in a row, all the 4-footers 2 times in a row, all the 5-footers 1 time in a row. And then you got to make all 12 putts in a row. So I'll do that. And it just really makes those 5-footers and in routine.
Right.
And then I go over, and they have such a great little par 3 course here, anywhere from a 55, 80, a 70-yard shot to about a 110-yard shot. And
Right.
I just go out there with 2 balls, and I go play 5 or 6 of them. And I just, before I go play, it gives me a feel for how the greens are reacting. It gives me a feel for the little shots into the greens. And it also, I go out and I putt, and I'm actually putting for birdie every hole twice. So it really gets me into a good mindset going when I get out there. And if you just get into these little routines and you give yourself time, I see the guys I'm playing with, I'm here for an hour and 30 before I play, and we're teeing off at 1 o'clock, and these guys are showing up at 12:50. They're running the putting green, hitting 2 balls, and then they're hitting like 4 7-irons and going to the first tee. I'm like, I can't do that at 52 anymore.
Right. Yeah, but you're really trying to put a little more time in than you would for a tournament round. So you're just saying, you kind of leave it on the floor, when you putt out at 18, right? I mean, you gave it everything you had. So you're not like, hey, I need to go grind after the round. So
Right.
You're grinding a little more before you go play.
Absolutely. I'm doing it exactly that, because I know how you've been here. You've been this grill up here at Cherry Creek, the men's grill. That's the best part of the whole round, is after and going up there and having a few pops with the boys. So
yeah.
It is, it is such a great club. We've been a member here for probably, I think we joined last September. We got in. Obviously, it's a process here. It's not like you can just get in.
Right.
And we were able to get in, and so many great guys. I've had such a great time here playing with, meeting some good guys. I played, with a guy today. I finished birdie, par, birdie, and lose 2 bets. I got to give him a shot on every hole coming in, and 2 on 17. He pars in to beat me. So I'm like, okay, we're going to have to adjust some shots.
Yeah, we're going to have to make it. Well, you've got a great PGA professional there, John Ogden. He won the section championship in Colorado up here at Red Sky a few years ago. Great guy, great player, and just so many great people down there at Cherry Hills. It is
a truly special place. It really is. I didn't realize, how it is. The Florida courses are just kind of, they're not really country. They are country clubs, but they're not like this.
Right.
The tradition and the history and everything that goes with it.
This is more of a northern country club that you would think of.
Yeah, exactly. Like an Oak Hill or something like that.
Right.
But this is just their tradition here is so great, and obviously so many great champions here. Arnold Palmer winning the 60 U.S. Open. There's many great things that's happened here. It's fun. I feel blessed to be part of it.
So, schedule-wise, are they ending the year normally and you just missed all these tournaments? Are they going to combine this year with next year for the PGA Tour Champions?
That's exactly what they're doing. So we're going to play Flint, a week off players. We were going to have at Akron, and we were going to have Canada, but they've closed their borders, so we can't get in there. And Seattle, which is going on over there. Everything's crazy up in there. So they canceled those 2 tournaments, and then we'll play I play 8 in a row, week off, 2 more, and then everybody's going to play in the Charles Schwab Cup tournaments. They're going to be full field events, and then next year and this year are going to be combined to make it a probably like a 43-week, like almost like a PGA Tour type, like year. So
all the eligibility stays the same. So
yeah, I'm so fortunate that my career money is way up there, and You know, right now I'm usually either number 1 or 2 in that category. So, and they take 11 spots out of that category, and obviously everything I make adds to it. So,
Right.
I'm very blessed to, and you know, to have this Champions Tour. It took me a while. I'm not gonna lie to you, it took me a good year to get comfortable out there again. You know, those guys are good. You know, you if you're nervous for 6 or 7 holes, you're 5, 6 shots back. There's no time to be nervous, and there's no time to you know, to take the pedal off the accelerator. I mean, it is full go out there. I mean, it is a sprint. There's no marathon out there.
No. I think one thing that I found out when I went out and played was the guys hit it further than I thought they were going to hit it.
Yeah.
And the courses were pretty stout. You know, it wasn't like we were playing 64, 6,500. You're playing 6,800 to 7,000.
Well, we're playing even more than that. We're probably playing 7 to 72. And I think, you know, right before you got out there, it was more of an entertainment. You know, you had Chichi Rodriguez and Lee Trevino and Jack Nicklaus.
Well, I'm not that old, CD. Don't put me with
No. I said before you got out there. Before you got out there. I said that before you got out there.
Right.
Like, you know, when it first started, I think it was more about seeing the legends of the game play golf.
No, it
and
was.
Then as it's morphed, it's gotten into, like, let me tell you what, these guys can play. And there's a lot of great players that you've never heard of. Scott Perrell.
Yeah.
I mean, guys that just are so solid out there, and they play so good. And, you know, you got to golf your ball out there to play some good golf. And, I mean, you know, we just keep having new guys come in every year. You know, Tim Herron this year, Mike Weir, Ernie Els. I mean, we've got some Jim Furyk. Mickelson turned 50. If he wants to play, he can play. I mean, we've got some star power coming this year.
Phil turned 50.
Phil turned 50, and, you know, I'd love to see him. I mean, obviously he wants to play the PGA Tour, but I mean, I'd love to see him play a couple of our events. You know, Akron in you know, Akron, Ohio at Firestone. He loves that place.
He does. He's played well there, and you know, just there's so many great players playing out there. They're still playing such a high level of golf, and you got to be sharp. I mean, it's, you know, if you want to finish top 10, and it was good to see you have some top 10s earlier this season. You know, as you said, it took you a while to kind of get back into it. And that injury in 07 really, you know, that skiing where you fell on your backpack, you know, you know, that really sent you for a
tailspin for sure.
I mean, that was tough, but it's really great to see that you're back. I think you've got everything kind of down where, hey, you know, the few things that work for you, you know how your swing works. Most importantly, you've always been a great putter. You've always been a great wedge player and pitcher of the golf ball. So now you're getting your golf swing back. And I'll tell you what, when you your tee to green game is stout when it's on. You can hit some iron shots.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, there's not a pin that scares me for sure. Especially, it don't matter if I got free iron in my hand. I feel pretty confident with it. You know, there's no doubt. Last year at the U.S. Open up at Notre Dame course, at the Warren course, that really gave me the confidence. The week before, I actually shot 65, and I'm like, okay, it is in there. In one of the rounds, I shot a 65. I'm like, okay, it's in there. I know it. And then I went out and played 4 solid rounds in the U.S. Open and finished tied for 6th. And I'm like, okay, that gave me so much confidence. You know, you just needed that one tournament. And again, I was so fortunate that again, my career money gave me the time to be patient.
You had time.
You know what I mean? I had time. I didn't have to. I never ever got like ahead of myself. I realized that, you know what, you've got time. You can take 2, 3, 4 years if you have to. Take your time. Don't rush it. Don't expect too much. Let it all happen. And I was, you know, thankfully I was able to do that, and it really helped, and it let me kind of get my confidence that way.
Well, you've been patient with it. You moved to Denver a couple years ago. You've joined a great club, and you know, it's got to be awesome training on a golf course that's had all these great championships.
It is, and I mean, again, like, just it's so nice to have greens that are putting 12.
Yeah,
you know, and I mean, it's just a real championship golf course, and when you play that every day, you know, when I go to Flint, I mean, Flint's a great fun golf course too, but I mean, I absolutely think this is a harder golf course than Flint. So I mean, I'm going to be I'm going to be prepared. And Flint is one of my favorite courses, favorite tournaments of the year. I don't think we're allowed to have fans the first week, but man, they come out in droves out there and they
Yeah.
really support us. It's
No,
one of
they
the great
really
ones.
do.
I'm so glad that the Champions Tour got that tournament back because, you know, Flint, Michigan, they need it, and they are true golf fans, and they come out and unbelievable. They were so supportive last year.
Well, Chris, it's been great having you on the show. Wish you all the best with, you know, what's coming up for you here in the next few weeks, and you know, it's going to be great. And you know, just really enjoyed it. You know, and if you want to
I
follow
did too.
Chris, you can follow Chris on Twitter at Chris DiMarco, and if you want to follow me, I'm at Larry Rinker on Twitter, and like to thank my sponsors, Titleist, FootJoy, the Ritz-Carlton Golf Club Orlando, and the Red Sky Golf Club in Vail, Colorado. And Chris, all the best, man. You got to get up here in the mountains.
We were been up there a bunch. The first season we skied 24. This year I was 14 days in before they closed everything because of COVID. So we do. I need to drive up. I have a really good buddy of mine. You know him, Tony Schissel, who lives in Vail. I need to get up there. We need to go out and play some golf for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All the best, CD.
Thanks, buddy. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
All right.